Today we are going to read the poem The Village Blacksmith by our another famous fireside poet during the Romantic period, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It's a long name. See here, he's got a long beard too. He was really popular in his time period in the 1800s. He, in fact, was so popular he rivaled England's most famous poet at the time, Lord Alfred Tennyson. He was very adept at reading and language. He came from a fairly wealthy background. He took a position at Harvard University in 1836 and taught writing and poetry there. But in 1854, he quit teaching altogether to devote himself to poetry. And his poetry was very well read in the time period that he lived in. In fact, children often had to memorize his poems. He was kind of like a mini celebrity, just like Oliver Wendell Holmes. A lot of poets kind of live and die in obscurity. No one really knows who they are, maybe until years after they die. But Longfellow is not one of those kind of poets. He was very well liked. People really liked his poems. Probably because he wrote all about America. He was very positive, like the song of Hiawatha, which has even been put into music. It was a very romantic narrative piece about the beauty of nature and Native Americans, and it's been commemorated through many sculptures and landmarkings. And just remember about Longfellow, I think something that's important to remember is that he didn't break any barriers with his poetry. His poetry wasn't really that unique, but it was well loved, it was traditional, and it was definitely a product of the time period that he lived in. So let's take a look at The Village Blacksmith by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The Village Blacksmith by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms as strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long, his face is like the tan. His brow is wet with honest sweat, he earns whate'er he can, and looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow. You can hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bell when the evening sun is low. And children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see the flaming forge and hear the bellows roar, and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from a threshing floor. He goes on Sunday to the church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. It sounds to him like her mother's voice singing in paradise. He needs must think of her once more, how in the grave she lies, and with his hard, rough hand he wipes a tear out of his eyes. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begin, each evening sees it close. Something attempted, something done, he has earned a night's repose. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught. Thus at the flaming forge of life our fortunes must be wrought. Thus on its sounding anvil shaped each burning deed and thought.